And good morning, and welcome to Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide. Nothing happens by chance. We are all here by divine appointment. So as I welcome you and I welcome our viewing audience, I acknowledge together that we are going higher yet. We heard the call, we answered. Before they call, I will answer, and while they're yet speaking, I will hear. There is an energy in the universe. And so this whole month is dedicated to the dynamic laws of the universe, that every time we think, we are using the law of contemplation, the law of correspondence, the law of attraction. We are using dynamic laws of the universe, and we know that trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. That's why we teach classes, we do seminars, we do Wednesday Night Live, where we have, as Alan Zimbelman said, world-class speakers that come to be with the interfaith community, to share their expertise, to share their work with us, and eventually the world. So as we gather today, realizing that nothing happens by chance, that there is a whole new worldview going on, and everything unlike that spiritual worldview is bubbling up, surfacing, so that it can be looked at and released, returned to its native nothingness from whence it came, because we know it is only the life and the energy that has given unto it. The more energy we give it, the bigger it gets. So we learn to discipline ourselves, to go within to the secret place of the Most High, to pray to our Father, Mother, God in secret, and to know that we are acknowledged openly by the outward demonstrations of our lives. Our lives are continually showing up. So when we look at the path of enlightenment, it's a vertical path. It's an upward spiral. And with each new revolution of getting it, of feeling enlightened, and looking at our life and how far we've grown and how far we've come, there is that next level. And I know, at the deepest level, that as I look back to where I was when I first came into this way of life, I am not the same person. Thank God. We are growing and unfolding in miraculous ways. This moves beyond color, race, creed, sexual orientation, age, all the stuff in the human condition that we grab onto to give our power away. Well, at my age. Well, that doesn't, God is ageless. God is absolutely ageless. So when we get it, that every single day of our lives is a gift, and that when we leave this plane of expression, we open a new door into a greater room with greater expression. That energy is neither destroyed nor created, it merely changes form. So thank God that we have that awareness, and that we forget that we can reach out to somebody who will remind us of who we are and not allow us to be less than who we are in the presence of the energy. Now, I have a friend, and I just love him so much, and he was sharing with me, and he is just amazing at what he does in the computer field, and he's always assisted me, and he does tutorials, and it's just great. And so every tutorial he gives me, he takes me to this Thai Smile. So I look forward to these wonderful tutorials, because the Thai Smile is a wonderful restaurant here in Palm Springs. And he said, you'll just never guess. He said, I'm still, my heart's still pounding. He said, I walk every single morning. And I go up, and I go up to Tuckwitz Canyon, and I got my little iPhone, my gym clothes on, my tennies, and I'm taking pictures of this glorious morning, and I happened to read a beautiful affirmation, a meditation that said, go out in nature. He said, I do go out into nature, and I just love being in that energy. And I was walking up Tuckwitz Canyon, and there was some beautiful views, and I took some pictures, and this ranger came up and said, may I ask what you're doing up here? And he said, I'm being with nature. And he goes, there is no loitering up here. There's a lot of things that go on up here. So, you need to be on your way. He said, well, I read this affirmation. I felt great. I felt at one with the universe. All is well in my world. And here's this guy in my face who is, accusing me of loitering. I am up here every day. He says, look, I got my gym clothes on, I got my tennies on, my little iPhone. He says, well, there's a lot of stuff that happens up here, a lot of crimes and things. So he said, all of a sudden I went into, this man is sexually profiling me. And he said, got some affirmation here in the front row. And he said, I have a right to be up here. I come up here every day. I have certainly never seen you. And what do you think a 67-year-old man in his tennies and in his gym clothes and an iPhone's going to do? Break into one of the cars? And he said, well, just be on your way. There's no loitering. So he said, you know, my adrenaline was up. I was at peace. All was well in the world. I'd read my affirmations. I felt wonderful. And then there's this man in my face, sexually profiling me. So I said, you know, it could be also about drugs, you know, that people are doing, you know, in the park. You know. He goes, I never thought of that. I said, well, you know, you just never know. But I said, sometimes people with a little bit of power just like go over the moon with it. It's just so interesting. If they don't feel powerful in their lives, they're going to get power, you know, whatever, however, in the outer world that they can get it. So he said, well, I hadn't exactly thought of that. But he said, I called Indian Affairs, and I talked to Rocky. And I told Rocky the whole story. And Rocky said, now, wait a minute, you were just walking up there, and were you in your car? He goes, Rocky, you're not listening. I walk every day. I'm up in nature. I'm feeling at one with the universe. I felt good to be there. Suddenly, I was verbally attacked by this ranger. So he said, I think I'm just going, and you're telling me it's dangerous up there, that it's not safe? I better call my council person who I did his website for him. I better call Steve Punier, who is the mayor of Palm Springs. I better call the Desert Sun. If it's not safe for us to be up there and to walk in nature, I think that Palm Springs needs to know about that. He said he backpedaled. Well, no, it's safe. It's just that, you know, we've had a few incidents, backpedal, a few, you know. And he said, and the truth is, he said, I plugged in. And I said, isn't it interesting how we do that? We all have our moments of feeling at one with the universe, feeling wonderful. It's a whole new worldview, all is well. And suddenly something happens and we plug into it. But I said, that had nothing to do with you. It had everything to do with how he was feeling about himself, that he could not give kindness, that he couldn't really extend himself in the energy of loving kindness. So it had nothing to do with you. So take your emotions now out of it. And just realizing that no matter who it was up there, that they would have gotten that same reception and response. That man, let's just send him energy, good energy right now. Let's just know that he is a personification of a lot of people in our world. And it's like us and them. It's like even the government and the IRS and all this stuff that goes on. But we're all one world. And the worldview that he drew a circle that shut me out, but love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle that took him in. That takes a tremendous consciousness. And that when we realize at that moment that a new worldview is not taking it personally because it has nothing to do with us. It's what that person is projecting. If we have an energy charge on it, we have unfinished business that we need to look to. And not that sexual profiling doesn't go on, or not that drugs, all that drug use and sales doesn't go on. We know it goes on. But we take ourselves out of the law of averages and we place ourselves in the law of individual selection. And we have all been judged. Believe me, in 37 years of the ministry, I have been very judged. Every time someone has a problem with their mother, they project on me. Or now maybe their grandmother, they project on me. So, you know, I cannot take it personally. It's not about me. It is about whatever that individual is going through. And so it's a call for love, isn't it? The Course in Miracles states that every loving thought is true. And everything else is a call for healing or help, regardless of the form it takes. And sometimes the form looks like a power play. And then we have to just step back and breathe. This has nothing to do with us. I said, just imagine yourself saying to him, brother, I see you have something going on with you today. I'm going to know the truth for you. I'm going to know that every single area of your life is perfect, complete, and whole. That this came up so that I could give you a blessing. I said, his head would still be spinning if you came up with that kind of a reaction. Right? So what we know is that now when these things, and believe me, I react with the best of them. I have my off moments. You know, it's so interesting that, you know, we can see ourselves and observe ourselves doing it and then kind of back off a little bit. My hairdresser has been wanting me to read this book, The Shack. He gave it to me like almost a year ago. And I have a very intense schedule, and I teach, and I do counseling, and I do weddings, and I do memorials, and I, you know, answer the correspondence, and I can go on and on about my schedule. So I got halfway through it, loved it, but there were other priorities. Also my own book I'm writing. So he said to me last week, when are you going to finish that book? And I said, oh, I can see you're really attached to me reading the book and finishing it. He said, yes, I am. And I said, well, let it go. And I sat down, and he did my hair, and that was the end of it. So I get back in to get my hair done yesterday, and I have now finished the book. I had a day of reflection, of writing, and swimming yesterday, and I did not have a car because my car is in the garage being fixed. I forgot I didn't have a car. They were going to call me. So I thought, I'll walk to the hairdresser. So I'm thinking about the whole new worldview, and I'm walking, and I'm seeing, you know, papers and trash. So I'm picking up the papers and trash on my way to the 2-block walk to the hairdressers and doing my part, and just, you know, it's there, so I'm going to pick it up. You know, it's not about the big things. And as Mother Teresa said, don't be concerned about doing great things. Just do small things with great love, thereby becoming great. So I'm picking up the trash as I go my way. And I've got, you know, The Shack, the book in my purse, and I'm going to give it to him because I know he wants to recycle it to other people because he loves the book so much, and it was fantastic. One of the best reads I've had in a long time, aside from People of the Bear Mother, which is by Dr. Ted Telford. And so I'm just so thrilled, you know, I just, you know, I got through it, and it was beautiful, and I felt uplifted, and I got in there to the salon, and I handed him his book, and I said, it was fabulous. He goes, oh, so my little talk with you worked. And I said, no, I said, actually, you brought it to my attention, and the tone in your voice said, please read the book so we can talk about it. And he said, well, I know you got your Leo up there, and you just told me to let it go. And I said, I felt myself react, but I just calmed myself down, and I just realized that you'll read it when you have the moment, and I did let it go. I said, out of your letting it go, I read it. But had you still been on my back about read the book, read the book, read the book, I probably would have just thrown it aside and thought, you know, I'll read it when I'm ready. You know, that ego part of us. And I said, but no, you did let it go, and I felt the love, and that you really did want to talk to me about it. So when we're talking about the new worldview, we're talking about there is nothing outside of ourselves. In fact, Lao Tzu, in the 5th century, he wrote something so fantastic, and I thought, this is our whole philosophy. I absolutely love this. He said, if you want to awaken all of humanity, then awaken all of yourself. If you want to eliminate the suffering in the world, then eliminate all that is dark and negative in yourself. Truly, the greatest gift you have to give is that of your own self-transformation. That is the greatest gift that we have to give to create a new worldview and to realize that, yes, we're going to walk up Tockwitz Canyon sometime and we're going to be met with something totally unlike what we're about that has surface so that we can see through it and not take things on. And when we take things on, it gets heavy. When we do things to, you know, impress people, and believe me, someone told me recently that, you know, they did so much for this person, and they took care of, you know, their mother, and they took care of him, and they were always there, and this is the thanks I got. And I said to him, the good things we do are born of God, and that influence lives on forever. Rarely do the people that we give to give back to us, but out of left field and in this great universal scheme of things, there are those little unseen hands, unseen kindnesses that give to us when we least expect it. When I went to Europe to speak at Cambridge a year ago, my Facebook friend, Carla Holiday, she met me at the train. I spent a week in Bath. We went to Glastonbury. Another Facebook friend came. And we had this amazing moment together, just out of somebody that was of the soul community, and we all agreed, this is not a first-time meeting. This is a joyful reunion. how fantastic that we can be together, and that we, through the law of attraction, I'm in England, we connect, and here we are in Glastonbury, climbing the Tor. The Tor is very, very high up, and thank God there are resting benches every 25 whatever feet. And that, you know, they're in their 30s, and I'm just thinking, oh, you girls go ahead, I'll just meditate here for a moment, and then I'll be up, you know, and each step of the way, but I made it to the top. Doesn't matter how long it takes you to get to enlightenment, you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, in front of the other, in front of the other. You keep doing what works. And when you get tired and thinking, oh my God, you know, when's it all going to shift and change, you just let that go. And you let go and let God do what God does best by means of you, because then you become a clear channel of expression as we begin to realize that a new worldview is within us. We are the world, as the beautiful song goes. We are the children. We are that thing that we're looking for, we're looking with. We are the dance and all the partners that come into this amazing universal dance of life that are there for us to express the joy and the energy of being alive at every single opportunity that is there. So, my dear friend, after we finished our lunch at Thai, he said, you know, I've got a different view of this. However, he said, I think that he should be spoken to. And I said, I do too. I really do. It's about people skills. It's about being in nature. It's a being in the energy of all that is. So I agree with you, and there's a way to do that. And the way to do that is to bring it into expression of being greeted, of really acknowledging that we want people to come to Palm Springs. We want them to have the energy of nature and the energy of all that we have here. I was feeling so absolutely fantastic yesterday. I just felt all's right with my world. I am at a day of reflection, of writing, of being, of swimming. I thought, you know, my friends that are shoveling snow in the east, I'm swimming here. I mean, this is fantastic. So what I know for sure is that we are in the world, and when we get it, that we don't have to be of it, then everything flows right on through in its divinity. And we allow it to be just what it is and just what it isn't. And to keep remembering to draw the larger circle. To keep remembering who we are. That we are spiritual beings in this human form to learn and to grow and to unfold. And that when we get those little ego moments, just to let it go. And to say, oh, thank you, universe, for bringing that to my attention. And then to do the work of He who sent us, because each and every one of us, we have a destiny to fulfill. We ask ourselves, are we fulfilling that destiny? As every day we are a little kinder, a little more loving, a little more understanding, a little more harmonious. If so, we are going in the right direction. God bless you. I acknowledge you for being here this morning. I know that we are growing in miraculous ways, and that Interfaith Spiritual Center worldwide is a divine idea in the mind of God whose time has come. The time is now, and the place is where we are. Do you agree? Yes. Absolutely, because we are what? Going higher yet. And so it is. God bless you.